I want to try something a little different to kick things off today. I want you to close your eyes. Seriously, unless you're driving, just shut them for a second. Now imagine snapping your fingers. In that split second, you step out of the year 2026. You are standing in the exact same spot you are right now. Maybe it's your office, your living room, but the date has rewound. You've dropped directly into the Stone Age.
It's a terrifying thought. And the catch is, you bring your brain, you bring all your memories, your understanding of, I don't know, how the stock market works, your knowledge of history, but you leave the physical world behind. No smartphone, no car keys, no plastic. Just you standing on the raw earth.
And that is the setup for today's deep dive. We're unpacking a really evocative piece of writing. It's titled, A Time Traveler from Pakistan, Witnessing the Stone Age.
Yeah. And it uses this thought experiment to basically strip away all our assumptions about what it means to be a human being.
It's a fascinating framework. Usually when people think about time travel, they think about what they would change.
Right.
You know.
I'd go back and invent the steam engine or something. Exactly. I'd bet on the winning horse. But this source argues that before you could even think about changing anything, you would just be paralyzed by what you encounter.
Or, maybe more importantly, what you don't encounter. Because the first thing we need to establish here is the atmosphere. You snap your fingers, the buildings dissolve, the Wi-Fi signal dies.
Yeah.
What is the immediate sensation?
Silence. That is the word the source keeps coming back to. But it's not the silence of, like, a library.
Yeah.
It's a heavy, almost oppressive silence. We are so used to the hum of civilization, the traffic, the HVAC, the phone notifications. We don't even hear it anymore. It's just the background static of our lives. In the Stone Age, that static is just cut.
And it's not just the sound, it's the visual shock. The source makes this point that if you look around, your brain would panic because the world looks wrong. It looks empty.
It looks non-human, and that's the key distinction. Today, we dominate the biosphere. We've reshaped the entire surface of the planet to serve us.
We pave over everything.
We pave the grass, we channel the rivers, we light up the night. In the Stone Age, humans are not the main characters. We are these rare, fragile, just astonishingly small figures in this massive, indifferent landscape.
That idea of scarcity is really hard for me to wrap my head around. I was on subway this morning, and I was literally pressed against 3 other people.
Yeah.
We complain about overpopulation, but in this world, the source says seeing another person is a monumental event.
Oh, it's an earth-shattering event. Let's dig into the numbers here, because this is where the deep dive really gets technical. The source lays out the population estimates, and they are shockingly low.
Okay, hit us with the data.
All right, so let's rewind about 200,000 years. This is deep time. The estimate for the entire global human population is between 10,000 and 30,000 people.
Wait, 10,000 people? That's not a population, that's a concert. That's a Tuesday night at a basketball arena. You're telling me that was the whole species?
The entire species. If a virus had swept through, or a supervolcano had gone off, which, by the way, almost happened, that would have been it. Game over.
Wow.
We would have been a biological footnote.
That is just so precarious. But even later, as we got better at surviving, the numbers didn't exactly explode, did they?
No, not by our standards. Jump forward to 50,000 years ago. We're smarter, we have better tools, the population is maybe 200,000 to 500,000. Still less than a mid-sized American city, but spread across the entire globe.
Okay.
And even by 10,000 BCE, right before agriculture kicks in, we're only talking about 4 to 6 million people.
So roughly half the population of London, scattered across every single continent on Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The source uses this beautiful, haunting metaphor. It says humanity appears as sparks on a dark Earth. If you were that time traveler, you could walk for weeks, cross entire mountain ranges in Europe or Asia, and never see a single footprint. You are alone in a way that is chemically impossible for a modern human to feel.
And that isolation, it fundamentally changes how you interact with the planet. There's this concept in the source called the sovereign land. I found this really profound. We're obsessed with lines, right? I pull up Google Maps and I see borders. This is France. This is private property.
That's a totally modern invention. We project authority onto the land. We say, I own this. In the Stone Age, that concept is, well,
Not sure.
It's inverted. The land owns you.
The land owns you.
Yeah. There are no nations, no political institutions, no armies guarding a frontier.
So if I'm just walking through a valley, I'm not trespassing.
You might be in a region where a specific group hunts, but they don't own it in the sense of a deed, you know? Territories are defined by ecology, not by politics. Where's the water? Where are the herds moving? The source phrases it as the land itself is sovereign. Humans are just tenants, and very temporary ones at that.
So it's a map defined by survival, not by treaties.
Precisely. Mountains, rivers, forests, those are the real rulers. If the river floods, you move. If the herds migrate, you follow. You don't get to stand your ground and argue with the landscape.
I want to take the listener on a mental flight now. We've established the world is empty, but it's not uniformly empty. The source breaks down where these sparks of humanity actually are. So if we're floating in a satellite above this Stone Age world, what do we see?
It's patchy, that's the best word for it. Let's start where it all began. Africa.
The core.
The core. Eastern and Southern Africa. This is the cradle. This is where you would find the highest density of people. You have stable populations living around the Great Lakes, the savannas. The climate is conducive to us. I mean, we evolved there, after all.
And the source mentions that because they've been there the longest, the knowledge is the deepest.
Oh, absolutely. These aren't people just wandering aimlessly hoping to find a berry bush. They have a sophisticated, multi-generational, encyclopedic knowledge of that environment. They know when the rains come down to the specific week. They know migration patterns better than we know our own neighborhoods.
Okay, so Africa is buzzing, relatively speaking. Let's drift east. What's going on in Asia?
Asia is described as sparse and expanding. It's a different vibe. You have small bands moving along the coastlines.
Because the ocean provides a steady food source.
Exactly. But the vast inland plains, the steppes, the deserts, totally empty.
Silence.
Complete silence. It's a scattershot of humanity. Isolated points of light separated by thousands of kilometers of wilderness.
And then we get to Europe. And I feel like this is where our pop culture brain kicks in. You know, the caveman, the fur, the snow.
And for once, pop culture isn't entirely wrong, but the scale is terrifying. The source calls Europe the edge of survival. You have to remember, this is the Ice Age. This isn't just a cold winter. Northern and Central Europe are buried under glaciers that are kilometers thick.
So places like London, Berlin, Warsaw.
Under ice. Gone. Uninhabitable.
So where are the people?
They are clinging to the southern fringes, the Mediterranean basin, parts of southern France, Spain. They're living in these little refuges. Life there is a brutal daily battle against the cold. The source really emphasizes that if you're a human in Europe at this time, you are the toughest organism on the planet. You're hunting mammoths with pointed sticks in sub-zero temperatures.
It makes our modern complaints about the weather seem a little silly. Oh, it's raining, I can't go out.
Right. It's more like it's raining, so I might die of hypothermia today. Different stakes.
Now, let's cross the ocean, the Americas. North and South America. In 2026, this is a hub of civilization. Hundreds of millions of people, cities, highways.
In our time travel scenario, it is the last frontier, and for most of the Stone Age, it is completely empty.
Totally empty.
Silence. 2 massive continents, from Alaska down to Patagonia, without a single human voice. Humans arrive there very, very late. When they finally do arrive, they stick to these narrow coastal corridors or huge river valleys like the Mississippi or the Amazon. But the interior, the Great Plains, the Andes, just animals, no agriculture, no smoke rising from campfires.
That is haunting. To stand in the middle of North America and know that you are the only consciousness for 1,000 miles.
And Australia offers another variation. You have people there, but they've pulled off this miracle of adapting to the arid interior. But the density is minuscule. And the Pacific Islands, the places we think of as paradise.
Uninhabited.
Totally uninhabited.
So the map is mostly blank. Now, I want to zoom in from the satellite view to the ground view. We've arrived, we've looked around. How does it feel to live there? The source talks about the intimacy of existence.
And this is where the culture shock hits you biologically. It starts with time.
We live by the clock, right?
Yeah.
I wake up at 7 because my phone tells me to.
Right. We've externalized time. In the Stone Age, time is somatic. It's bodily. You don't eat at noon because it's lunchtime. You eat when you kill something. You sleep when the sun goes down because you can't see, and predators can. Time is measured by hunger, danger, and the seasons.
And the source mentions that this rhythm is shadowed by a very grim statistic, life expectancy.
25 to 35 years.
I'm 34, so I'm basically an elder.
You're a senior citizen.
No.
Now, we have to nuance that plenty of people lived into their 60s if they survived childhood. But the average is dragged down because infant mortality was massive, and the environment was just unforgiving.
Like a broken leg.
The broken leg. In 2026, that's a cast and 6 weeks of Netflix. In the Stone Age, that is very likely a death sentence. You can't move, you can't hunt, you become a burden or prey.
That fragility forces a different kind of learning. The source draws this line between book learning and lived learning. I think this is fascinating because we think of ourselves as the knowledge economy.
We are, but our knowledge is abstract. I can tell you that a lion is a predator, genus Panthera, lives in the savannah. I know about the lion. The Stone Age human knows the lion. They know the smell of it on the wind. They know the specific disturbance in the grass that means it's stalking.
It's the difference between reading a manual and actually flying the plane.
Exactly. And in their world, the final exam is survival. If you mistake a poisonous mushroom for an edible one, you don't get an F, you die. So the transmission of knowledge from elder to child is incredibly precise. It has to be perfect.
This brings us to technology.
Yeah.
And I think we have a bit of a superiority complex here. We look at a flint spearhead and think, cute, primitive.
And the source just rips that assumption apart. It argues that Stone Age tools are profoundly intimate. Think about flint knapping making a stone blade. It looks like banging rocks together, but it's actually applied physics. You have to understand fracture mechanics, striking angles, the geology of the stone.
And you have to make it yourself.
That's the key. The person using the tool is the person who made the tool. They understand every atom of it. Now compare that to your smartphone.
The black box.
Exactly. You use that phone every minute of the day. Your life depends on it. But do you know how it works? Could you build one?
Not a chance.
If the chip fries, can you fix it? No. We are surrounded by black box technology. We are dependent on systems we don't understand and can't replicate. The Stone Age human is the master of their technology. We are the servants of ours.
That's a humbling thought. If I dropped you in the woods with your iPhone, it's a shiny brick. If I drop a Stone Age human in the woods with nothing, they can make fire, they can make weapons, find food. Who's actually the advanced one in that scenario?
We've traded individual competence for collective convenience.
Let's pivot to the people, the society. If there's no government, no police, no money, how do they not just kill each other? How does anything get done?
This is the egalitarian band. The source describes the fundamental unit of humanity as the band, roughly 20 to 50 people.
So small groups.
Yeah, very small. This ties into Dunbar's number, the idea that our brains can only really maintain relationships with about 150 people. In the Stone Age, you never, ever exceed that limit.
So everyone knows everyone.
Intimately, there is no anonymity. You can't be a jerk to someone and then just go to a different grocery store. You are stuck with these people.
So how does leadership work? Who's the boss?
Well, there is no boss in the modern sense. Leadership is fluid. It's based on situational competence.
Situational competence, I like that.
It means if we're hunting, the best hunter is in charge. If we're trying to heal a sick child, the person with the most herbal knowledge is in charge. If we're resolving a conflict, the wisest elder speaks.
So you can't just inherit the throne.
No, there's no wealth to inherit. You can't hoard resources when you have to carry everything you own on your back. And this creates a fiercely egalitarian society. And it's not just because they're nice, it's because cooperation is mandatory.
Right, if I try to hoard all the food, the band weakens and then we all starve.
Exactly, or the band just kicks you out. And in the Stone Age, exile is death. So there is this intense social pressure to share, to cooperate, to pull your weight. In our world, you can be incompetent or selfish and still have power if you have money or a title. In the band, your contribution is visible. You can't fake it.
It sounds stressful in a way, always being watched, but also meaningful. You know you matter.
You absolutely matter. There's no such thing as an expendable person in a group of 30. If you break your ankle, the whole group feels it. You are essential.
We're getting toward the end here, and I want to touch on what the source calls the cognitive shift. We've talked about tools and maps, but this is about the software running in their heads. The source argues their minds actually work differently.
It's the difference between living inside the world versus living above it.
Okay, break that down for me.
Modern humans, we view nature as a resource or scenery. We look at a forest and see lumber or a nice place to hike. We live in climate-controlled boxes. We're detached. We live in these abstract networks, the economy, the internet, the brand. These things aren't physically real, but they rule our lives.
And the Stone Age mind?
They view the boundary between human and nature as very thin, maybe non-existent. Animals are agents. They have souls, intentions, power. The river isn't just water, it's a force to be negotiated with. They're in a constant dialogue with the world.
They're paying attention.
They have to. The source says the Stone Age mind lives inside the world. They notice the wind shift. They notice the birds go quiet. We tune all that out.
This leads to a big philosophical question about freedom. We like to tell ourselves we are the freest people in history. I can fly to Tokyo tomorrow. I can order any food I want. But the source really challenges that definition.
It sets up this fascinating contrast between freedom and security. Stone Age freedom is immediate. You can walk anywhere. You answer to no government. You pay no taxes. But that freedom is constrained by necessity. You're free to move, but if you move the wrong way, a leopard eats you.
And us.
Our freedom is abstract. The source even calls it illusory. We're buffered by safety. We have airbags, antibiotics, police, insurance. But think about your day. You sit in traffic, you sit in a cubicle, you pay bills, you follow laws. We have traded the raw, dangerous freedom of the Stone Age for the comfortable cage of civilization.
We've traded risk for boredom.
In a way, yes. We're safer. Much, much safer. But are we as alive? That's the question the source leaves you with. We've removed the stakes.
This brings it all home to the main thesis of the deep dive. The delicate experiment.
That phrase really stuck with me. We look around at our cities, our internet, our airplanes, and we think, this is normal, this is how it is. But when you look at the timeline, 200,000 years of the band, of the silence, of the raw earth, and then this tiny, tiny sliver of time, just a few thousand years, where we've built all this.
Civilization is the glitch.
It's the anomaly. It's a delicate experiment built on top of a very wild foundation. We are insulated, yes, but underneath the suits and the smartphones, we are still those sparks. Biologically, we haven't changed. We are the same animal that huddled in the cave, just wearing different clothes.
That explains a lot about modern anxiety, doesn't it? Our brains are designed to scan for predators in the grass, but now we use that hardware to scan for passive-aggressive emails.
Exactly. We're time travelers, just in the wrong direction. We are Stone Age hardware trying to run modern software, and it causes a lot of glitches.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave the listener with a final provocation from the source. It's a question that's a bit uncomfortable.
It is, the source asks. If you were actually dropped into that world today, stripped of your technology, your job title, your abstract authority, would your modern knowledge actually help you? We think we're so advanced, but without the supply chain, without the grid.
Are we actually capable? Or have we become too detached from the lived reality of the planet to survive on our own?
I think if most of us are honest, we know the answer, and it's not a comforting one.
Definitely something to chew on while you stare at your smartphone today. Thanks for taking this journey with us on The Deep Dive.
A pleasure. Stay curious.